Hey there everyone, and welcome back to another Confronting Evil. Tonight's episode falls like the snow, right at the start of the holiday season. So get ready to be festive and fearless with tonight's newest chapter of Confronting Evil. Trevor was a good father and attentive husband. The day was late, but it was still early in the season, and Trevor made it a point to get his holiday shopping done early. Struggling to his car with an armload of gifts, he stuffed them into the back seats before climbing into the driver's side and starting his car, beginning his long journey home through some remote wilderness to his house on the other side of a remote mountain range. As the car traveled down the road, Trevor battled both the nightly condition of darkness and a salt-smeared windshield, focusing intently on the road ahead. But it was the sound of a loud bang like a gunshot that shifted his focus. Moments later, the sound of rubber flopping against pavement signaled that he had blown a tire. "God damn it," Trevor said to himself, as he pulled over to the shoulder and climbed out, ready to fix the flat on the rear driver's side, the tire completely blown out. "Come on, damn it!" Trevor grumbled to himself, trying desperately to free the frozen lug nut. However, the sound of nearby crunching snow got his attention. Trevor would have assumed the excess had fallen from some covered branch until he heard another and another. The sound was of something walking through the snow nearby. Trevor stood and shined his flashlight into the tree line nearby. He saw nothing, and now he also heard nothing. "Hello? Is someone there?" he called. And after waiting a minute, he got no reply. Trevor stooped back down and continued his work. "I'm so hungry." The sound was so faint and ethereal, he could almost have sloughed it off as imagination, but Trevor knew better. He absolutely heard something whispering nearby. Trevor turned to once again look in the direction of the trees, but it was too late. The thing was already upon him, ignoring his pleas for being scared and for release. The monstrous beast bared down on him indifferent, tearing his head from his shoulders in one large, ripping bite. Local police would find the car and all the blood, but no body. Sheriff Jesse could only think of one group of people to call. It was a night unlike any other for a December in the northeast part of the country. The roads were clear, but snow covered nearly everything else, and though most were at home preparing for the holidays with family, the two braving the back roads in a Ford Torino Cobra had no current concern for Christmas. The past month for each of them had been hard, though the siblings had spent much of their time enjoying the simple presence of the other again, and being in the company of Huck for the past couple of weeks. That which disturbed each of them influenced their reaction to all life had dealt them, and still promised to deal.
"So, when are you going to tell me what's going on with you?"
Seth questioned from the driver's seat.
"What?
You mean like you play dream psychologist? I told you, Seth. It's nothing I can't handle.
Mackenzie responded assertively.
Okay, Kens. Whatever you say. I'm done prying.
Honestly, Seth, what's going on with you? You haven't been captain-sibling closeness yourself. What gives?
Nothing, sis. Really. Just wish you'd open up a bit.
Seth responded, knowing full well he wasn't telling her the whole truth. His nights had been plagued with nightmares as well, but of things he didn't quite understand, and currently, he simply explained it away as PTSD from all the two had endured throughout their lives.
Yeah, well, I'll open up when you do. Are you gonna let me drive yet?
I already told you, Mackenzie. You need to sleep first. You almost drove us off the road back there nodding out. You're not getting these keys until you do.
Whatever. Fine. Just wake me when we're there.
The phone kept ringing. Seth knew who it was, but Mackenzie wouldn't pick it up.
You're not gonna get that?
You told me to sleep, right?
Mackenzie said in response, indicating she was not going to pick it up. Seth reached over and grabbed the phone himself and answered Huck's call.
Yeah, Huck. What's up?
Happy holidays,
Huck said back in reply, catching Seth off guard.
Same to you?
Seth replied, confused.
Sorry, I just decorated the place for Christmas. Feeling festive. Are you two on your way back yet?
Huck both explained and asked.
Not yet. We were on our way back. But there's something we got wind of not too far from where we are. Not far from Jessie's neck of the woods. She gave us a call about it yesterday. Sounded like a werewolf attack. At least that's what we figure.
Wait, there hasn't been a full moon in weeks. You don't think?
Huck started to ask, concerned.
No, but at least we hope not. We're honestly not sure. Jessie gave us the address of an old bar where we were supposed to meet up with some guy who works there. Claims he can tell us more, but doesn't like talking on the phone.
Seth explained further.
You mean Chad?
Yeah. How'd you know?
Good old Chad Harville. He's not much older than you two. He's a bit eccentric, but he knows his hamsters from his hard rocks, that's for sure.
What the... Never mind. I'll just take that as he knows what he's talking about.
Seth clarified for himself.
Pretty much. So, how's your sister holding up?
Seth looked over at Mackenzie to find her pretending to sleep, something he could tell with ease.
She's fine. She's trying to get some sleep.
I see.
Huck got quiet for a moment.
Listen, just keep an eye on her, then let me know if you need anything.
Will do, Huck.
And hurry back. Later I'm making some rum cake. Well, I'm out of rum, so it's moonshine cake.
Okay, yep. We'll be back soon.
Seth said, saying his goodbye and hanging up the phone.
Please don't tell me he's making moonshine cake again.
Mackenzie groaned.
That he is. Wait till we meet this Chad character. Apparently he's something else.
Oh yeah? Why's that?
I'll tell you about it on the way.
Seth replied, as he sped off in the direction of the Dew Shine pub, under a clear and frigid night sky. By the time the pair had arrived, it was so late, it was actually early morning, and although the interior lights and exterior festive twinkle lights were all still illuminated, the neon open sign was off. Exhausted from the drive and hoping Chad would be awake, the twins exited the vehicle, stretching their bones, and shut the respective doors to the car. Mackenzie tried knocking, but the loud music still blaring from inside told them that if anyone was inside, they were unlikely to hear it.
Should we try the door?
Seth began, asking to see if they should check whether or not the door lock was engaged. But Mackenzie had already discovered it wasn't and had begun opening the door. Inside, the pair observed a very backwoods and simple motif, consisting of unsanded and knotted wood, a cigarette ash-stained floor, and the smell of old beer. Along with this, the room was decorated with Christmas festiveness almost overboard for a bar such as this. Strings of lights were hung on every surface and nearly covered the entire building. The jukebox in the corner blared, rocking around the Christmas tree, so loud that the man with his back turned to them, dancing at the bar while he cleaned, had not even heard them come in from behind him. He wore a flannel shirt with cut-off sleeves, and his long hair dangled from the back of his head. His skinny frame matched his meek appearance, and his clothes told them that this guy did not care what he looked like. However, before either could say a word, the cold draft that came from the door behind them flowed past the man at the bar, causing him to spin to look and see why the door was open. When he saw the pair standing there, he could only think to yell one thing.
"The bar is closed!"
The man yelled, and even though Mackenzie and Seth yelled back that they were not there for a drink, the man yelled the same again.
"I said the bar is closed!"
At this point, Seth simply walked over to the jukebox and unplugged it.
"Hey, you can't do that!"
The man exclaimed, jumping behind the bar and grabbing his gun, thinking he may need to protect himself.
Wait, hold on. I'm Mackenzie, and that's my brother Seth. Sheriff Jesse said you'd be expecting us?
"No, I don't think..." "Wait. Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. Guess I couldn't hear you with all the noise, huh?"
You must be Chad.
Seth explained, remembering what Huck had told him about this guy.
"That I am. You two hear about the thing in the woods, right?"
Chad asked.
Well, we're here about something, but we're not sure what it is. The police reports Jesse told us about said that all 3 Vics were mutilated and appeared to be partially eaten. Time of death was all at night, and all were hiking some trails not too far from here. You're saying this thing lives in the woods?
Seth explained, and then inquired.
"What I can tell, I don't think it ever leaves the forest."
Well, that basically cuts out our werewolf theory. Every were-cujo I've heard of eventually reverts back to human form. Even I did when I was one. Unless this dude is just vagabonding it in the brush somewhere.
Wait, did you say you were a werewolf? I've never heard of a cure. Mind explaining?
Chad asked, bewildered by Mackenzie's statement.
Well, it's a long story. But I wasn't like a typical wolf, I was more spellbound. There was this belt and our father actually...
Mackenzie began.
"So you're telling me you're Christian Beretta's kids?"
You know about our dad?
Seth asked, surprised.
Oh man, your mom and dad are legends. Sorry to hear about what happened to him.
Chad offered his condolences.
It was a long time ago, but we should probably get back to the matter at hand.
Fair enough. Well, you two are barking up the wrong tree for sure. It ain't no werewolf, I can tell you that.
Chad said with confidence.
So tell us then, what's your theory?
Seth said with curiosity and a bit of skepticism.
Well, come on over to the bar, let's pour a few, and we'll go over our little monster problem.
Chad insisted, inviting them over to his bar before stepping behind it, placing 3 shot glasses in front of them, followed by a full bottle of high-end whiskey. Chad poured the drinks for the 3 of them, encouraging them to drink theirs, downing his before either had had a chance, and began explaining what he had discovered, including the murder of a pedestrian on those same backwoods next to those hiking trails the night before. After many drinks and some recreational substances later, the siblings had heard all he had to say.
Wait. A were... bug?
Mackenzie said, trying her hardest not to laugh.
Listen, I know what I'm talking about. The bite marks. The eyewitness reports when the highway was put in nearby. Even some guy going missing a few years ago under very similar circumstances. It surfaces every so often and then goes dormant, in hiding, like a cicada.
Chad summed up once again.
Okay, you do have some strong evidence to support your theory, but I've never heard of anything like this before.
Seth replied.
I know I've heard something similar somewhere. Give me some time and I'll figure it out, and how to kill that damn thing. Say, 36 hours. Maybe less.
Chad said, getting a chuckle from the twins regarding how calculated and precise he tried to sound.
Listen, you do what you gotta do. Thanks a ton for the drinks, but we gotta find a place to crash for the night.
Seth said.
Nah, you two can bunk here. I've got some spare rooms up the stairs. Find a bed, it's yours.
Where are you gonna sleep?
Mackenzie asked. Chad patted the bar, then climbed up on it and laid down flat.
Right here, like I always do,
Chad said. Mackenzie and Seth laughed out loud, unable to help but find his curious personality amusing. They thanked their new friend and took him up on his offer, stumbling off up the stairs and finding their own rooms within a few moments. And a few moments after that, each was fast asleep. The next few hours were filled with flashes of blood, unending darkness, and distant screams of terror. Seth didn't understand where they were coming from or what was lurking, always near and present. But he felt that whatever it was drawing closer and closer to him and its end goals. He didn't know what those were, but could sense a disastrous conclusion. Seth then felt something grip his shoulder tight, and as he spun around, startled, ready to attack or run, instead, he sat up in bed, where he'd been laying down asleep. Rubbing his eyes and calming his heart rate, Seth looked over at the clock on his phone. It was still early, but late enough for the pair to shake off their hangovers and get ready for the day. Assuming he was the first to awaken, Seth got dressed and prepared for the rest of the morning, before exiting his room with the intention of waking Mackenzie.
I see you're finally awake,
Mackenzie said, standing in the hallway, as Seth shut the door behind him.
Really? You didn't sleep again?
I slept, just not a ton like you.
Mackenzie, it's been 4 hours. You have to get some true rest. It's not healthy if you don't.
Seth lectured.
Are you done lecturing me? You're not Dad. Or Mom, for that matter. Come on, let's get going.
Mackenzie finished, and the twins made their way down the stairs and towards the door. As they walked by him, Chad groaned and stirred on the countertop of the bar.
Hey, where are you two going?
Chad managed to grumble out through a thick hangover and extreme exhaustion.
We're gonna go check the north trails of that wood barren stretch you showed us last night,
Mackenzie informed him.
Listen, give me some time to do my research on this thing. At least then you'll know what you're up against.
Chad tried to reason.
And who else might get slaughtered while we wait? Listen, you have our numbers. You come up with anything, give us a call.
Seth assured him as he shut the door and exited the bar.
Alright, the roads look pretty covered, but I think I can handle it. Can I have the keys now?
Mackenzie asked.
No way. You still haven't barely rested at all. And besides, you gave me the keys, and I still have them. So dibs.
Dibs doesn't work with car keys, Seth, when it's my car.
Technically it's Mom's car, as it was Dad's car. And you can argue with me after you get some decent rest. I'm not gonna let you ram us into a telephone pole just because you insisted on driving.
Whatever. Apparently you still sleep way more than I do. I'll just steal them next time you nod out.
Mackenzie reasoned.
Well, I don't sleep too deep anymore, sis. So, Good luck with that.
Dweeb.
Mackenzie grumbled playfully as she climbed into the passenger seat of the Torino.
Ass.
Seth returned as he climbed into the driver's seat. And with that, Seth started the engine, and the twins bickered back and forth about who would do the driving next, which occupied their time all the way to those northern timber barrens of the northeast, just outside a sleepy backwoods town. The day had been bitter cold. Drifting snow blustered through the trees that surrounded them on all sides, and they had been walking for hours.
Seth, we haven't seen as much as a single hiker. What are we still doing out here?
Mackenzie asked, cold and frustrated.
I don't think it's hunting people out here, Kins. I think whatever this thing is, it's hunting them here, because it lives here.
Seth bargained.
And what makes you think that, Mr. Know-It-All?
Mackenzie said, agitated by the cold and her brother's persistence.
A hunch. Well, that and these side trails we've been walking, these aren't on the map, and they're much thinner. Footprints or not, these aren't part of the advertised trails.
Maintenance trails, maybe?
Nope, because...
They're too narrow for a maintenance trail. Yeah, realized it as soon as I said it. Give me a chance, will you?
Wait, hold up, Mackenzie. Look.
Seth said, pointing ahead at something through the trees, stopping and squatting down as he did.
Seth, I don't see anything. What the hell are you looking at?
Mackenzie said, squinting to see the diminishing light of the early sunset.
Up there, look. See the roof?
Seth said, and once he did, Mackenzie peered a bit harder to where he was pointing, and between the trunks of thick trees, about 100 feet ahead of them, was the roof to a house. At first, this made no sense. There were no roads or driveways anywhere nearby, and yet here, in the middle of the forest, was a house. As they drew cautiously closer, they could see it was 2 stories tall and severely dilapidated, obviously condemnable. Any semblance of a yard had been long overtaken by nature, and dead bramble clung close together in the front yard, tall and brown, reaching up through and even supporting a hefty amount of snowfall.
Seth, what the hell is a house doing in the middle of the woods?
Mackenzie asked, confused at the sight before her.
Well, I'm not sure, but if I were to make a guess, judging by the age, I'd bet it was here before that highway was put in, about a half-mile from here. Whoever lived here was likely bought out, but they never demolished the house. It happens more often than you'd think, actually.
Seth said, relatively sure of his explanation.
Well, I'm not going in there. Looks like the place is gonna fall down any second.
Really, Kins? We have to check it out. There's a good...
Before Seth could finish his reasoning, both he and Mackenzie heard the sound of quiet sobbing coming from inside the home. From where they stood, it sounded like a girl.
Oh, you've gotta be fucking shitting me. Seriously?
Come on, sis. We've gotta go in now.
Seth encouraged his sister.
Whatever. Fine. God damn it. Place crawling with spiders and rats and God knows what else, but whatever. Merry Christmas to us, right?
Mackenzie grumbled all the way to the door.
Shh. Will you be quiet now? Complain later.
Seth said, inching inward past the frame to where there had once been a front door, and inside the old crumbling structure. The interior was covered in trash, and the garbage itself was as much as 3 feet deep in places. Mackenzie grimaced as she followed behind her brother, wading through old refuse and rotten food items like the water in a kiddie pool. The sobbing was closer now, and soon Seth stopped, pointing at a nearby door to the right, leading into what was once likely a bedroom. Slowly and quietly, Seth turned the corner, and Mackenzie followed behind him. As the two looked inside, they could see the sun now completely setting beyond the window that sat above a small girl in a dirty flower dress, curled up on her knees, crying, her back turned to the twins. Her hair was dirty blonde and long, and by her size, Seth and Mackenzie figured she couldn't be any older than maybe 10 or 11 years old.
Hold on, Seth. Let me handle this.
Mackenzie said to her brother, thinking her feminine touch may offer more assurance.
Hey there, honey. Are you okay? What's your name? Are you lost? My brother and I...
Mackenzie began, but as she talked, the girl turned to see who was speaking to her, and as she did, Mackenzie saw her glowing green eyes glaring back at her, and it stopped her words short.
My name is Isabel. You shouldn't be here.
The girl seemingly choked out, tears leaking beneath what looked like violent and menacing eyes.
Mackenzie, back away,
Seth said, but he didn't have to. She was already slowly treading backwards.
I'm so hungry.
The girl softly spoke.
What? What did she just say?
Seth asked out loud, more to himself than anyone. But the little girl answered for him.
I'm so hungry.
The booming and growling voice came from the mouth of the little girl that faced them, which caught them both off guard. But before they could react, the girl's small frame began snapping at the joints. Her legs grew longer. Her arms and fingers lengthened as well. Her eyes bulged until they were like green saucers in her head with black circles in the center, and her jaw cracked open, flesh tearing at its edges, before two black, bone-like growths emanated from where they had split and folded inward like two mandibles of an insect.
I think we found our suspect, Seth.
Mackenzie stated the obvious.
Yeah, too bad we don't know how to kill the damn thing.
Seth replied.
What the hell is that?
Not sure. Werebug is still my best guess. I don't know, but this puppy usually does the trick.
Mackenzie smiled, pulling her black iron blade from her inside jacket pocket.
Mackenzie, we have no way of knowing.
Seth began, but it was too late. Mackenzie was already lunging full speed at this crooked, walking creature that marched towards them regardless. And there wasn't even a chance. No contest. The creature simply halted Mackenzie's attack by simply swatting her away like a fly. But Seth used this chance to take his opportunity and was upon the creature before Mackenzie had even hit the floor. Still, the thing simply picked Seth up off the ground like he weighed nothing at all and threw him at the wall. Seth careened towards the window and flew right through the glass. Seth landed with a thud, scratched and cut, but not seriously injured.
So hungry.
Seth could hear the thing yelling from inside the house, and then a loud commotion of a fight breaking out. Mackenzie was defending herself, and she needed his help. He couldn't lose her again. Seth scrambled to his feet and ran around the corner of the house to re-enter, and was stopped by the sight of someone he did not expect.
Is it in there?
Chad asked, at the aperture to the house, and ready to enter inside.
Yes, and Mackenzie's in there. How did you find us? What are you doing here?
Seth questioned.
No time to explain. Let's gank this thing first, chat over beers later.
Chad insisted, and Seth complied, both rushing inside to Mackenzie's aid. Chad pushed through the debris and refuse like a tank, uninhibited by the obstacles in his way or the knowledge of something hideous just around the corner, like he was a seasoned killer of monsters. As Seth turned the bend behind Chad, he could see Mackenzie struggling in the creature's clawed grip, its mandible-lined mouth stretching far too wide than it should, in preparation of inserting Mackenzie's head and her muffled screams. But before Chad or Seth could make a move, Mackenzie pulled the iron dagger from her coat pocket and plunged it deep into the monster's abdomen. The pain of it was enough to release its grip over Mackenzie's mouth, but not enough to wound it, kill it, or even enough to drop her from its grasp entirely.
Okay, so maybe it didn't work. It was worth a shot, I suppose. A little help here?
Mackenzie turned and stared at her brother, surprised to see Chad with him, but too focused on her fight for her life that she was engaged in to comment. Seth went to step around Chad, unwilling to take out his firearm and pull the trigger, but hesitating due to not wanting to accidentally strike his sister. However, in that same instant, Chad pulled a small vial from his pocket, pulled the top, and splashed the liquid onto the creature from about 5 feet away. Instantly, the creature hissed, dropping Mackenzie from its clutches. The thing howled a monstrous shriek as its body began smoking, and soon after, dissolving, slowly melting its form away from elongated bones. As the creature let out one last dying squeal, crumpling to the floor in a goopy, foul-smelling mess, Mackenzie stood to her feet. Before she could say anything, the smell of whatever Chad had used on the beast had caught her attention.
Not sure where you got that holy water, but it smells really good actually,
she said, surprised and confused.
Nah, that wasn't holy water. It was all the lemon zest I picked up from the hippie shop the other week. Thought it might help, defunkify the bar.
Chad explained.
Wait, oil of lemon?
Seth asked, still confused.
Yeah, that's what I tried to tell you guys last night. I did my research on some things. Turns out this werebug, as it were, is actually known as a mimic. They infiltrate a population under an innocent guise, but are unable to control their forms under the cloak of night. Lore said this is one way to kill it, though I suppose insect repellent would have worked just fine.
Chad said with glee and confidence.
Oh, I placed trackers on your phone.
Mackenzie and Seth looked at each other, feeling as though their privacy had been violated.
I told you guys I'm a whiz with computers. And while we're at it, I think I've got a lead on your blue-eyed friend. Give me some time and I'll find the info you need to stop him.
Chad said with pride. Mackenzie and Seth agreed. Knowing a little extra help would be pretty useful. Together, the three burned what remained of that thing's corpse, and the old house it was hiding in, being careful the rest of the forest did not catch fire. After the place was reduced to cinders, the three of them left those frozen, snow-covered woods and headed for their respective cars, saying their goodbyes before climbing in. As Mackenzie finally convinced her brother to give her the keys and subsequently climbed into the driver's seat, her phone rang. Mackenzie silenced the call as Seth climbed in after her.
Mackenzie, that's Huck. Aren't you gonna pick it up?
Seth asked, concerned.
He probably just wants to let us know what his plans are for Christmas when we get back. Honestly, Seth, I'm just not in the mood.
I mean, I can understand that. Come on, Mackenzie. You've been avoiding Huck's calls for days now. Come on, what's really going on?
Seth asked, concerned for his sister. Mackenzie took a deep breath, paused, and then began talking.
He wants to know what happened, Seth. He thinks he can help, and he can't.
Wants to know what?
Seth said, but as soon as the words slipped past his lips, he realized.
Was it really that bad?
You have no idea, Seth. It was a world of nothing. Blackness, pain, devoid of any resemblance of what we know as humanity. The only thing I heard for months, Seth, were the sounds of my own screams. It was like sensory deprivation of anything but desolation and agony. It was pure despair, Seth.
Mackenzie began opening up, and Seth just listened.
I can't thank you enough, bro. Ever for coming for me, but he was gathering energy from me. Energy collected by that belt, and then ripped from me. I can't describe the pain. If I could, I wouldn't want to.
Well, I can see why you're avoiding Huck's calls, Mackenzie, but Huck loves you like family. You can't avoid him forever. But I gotta ask, why are you telling me now?
Because, Seth, before you got to me, he had gathered all he needed for whatever he was planning. We have to find Blue Eye before it's too late. He has everything he needs. He's just waiting for the right time, which I imagine will be sooner than later.
Don't worry, Mackenzie. We're gonna figure this out together. Just do me a favor. Don't hide things from me anymore. And please, give Huck a call back.
Seth asked. Mackenzie grimaced when Seth told her to open up more often, as this just wasn't her style. But she did pick up the phone and gave Huck a call back as she turned over the engine and pulled from place, heading back to their plot of land where Huck's trailer currently resided. They would pick up a Christmas present for Huck, a new flannel and hunting cap, ready to indulge his excitement for the holiday, but neither rested easily internally. Each wrestled with a personal darkness, one they did their best to hide from the other, and the twins knew that despite the holiday season, there was work to be done, and evil lurking just around the corner. It would seem that no matter how much evil is conquered, the worst is yet to come, still hiding in the most obscure places and biding its time. What's the end game for the one pulling the strings behind the scene, and how far will it hunt them? You won't have to wait long to get back on the road with Seth and Mackenzie as Confronting Evil returns next month. Social media can be very unpredictable, especially regarding horror content. If this content gets removed, all new content will be simultaneously presented on various websites provided in the description to this video. Make sure to follow me in other digital spaces so that you never miss out on the terror. Also, if you like this video, make sure to leave a comment and hit the like button. It helps the channel a lot. If you're new to the channel and you enjoy what's here, consider hitting that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you never miss an upload. Writing is a dream of mine, and it's all of you that make that dream come true.